So, Mike, why don't you tell me your name and what your position is?
Here at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
My name is MichaelConway. I am a program manager here at MD Anderson Cancer Center.
Okay, Michael, tell me how you got to MD Anderson.
I had ended up here at MD Anderson because, can we back up? You're going to edit all this, right?
Yeah, well, actually,
Okay.
Let me start with the first question. Like, where are you from?
Okay. I'm a native Houstonian. I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay. And how did you come to MD Anderson?
I came to MD Anderson before I was an employee and before I was a volunteer. I came here initially as a patient in 1990. I was 21 years old. I was diagnosed with a medulloblastoma, which is a brain tumor. Actually had my surgery next door at St. Luke's, but I had my radiation treatment here at MD Anderson. Went back to college, graduated, and 4 or 5 years later, I began volunteering here as a floor host, where we meet with patients in their rooms and just talk with them if they'd like, provide company and other benefits like that. And then in 2002, I became an employee, and I've been an employee for about 11 years now.
Was being an employee here something that you wanted to do for a long time? Or?
I don't know how, when you say a long time, I mean, at the time I was only 30 years old, but there did come a point where at my other job, outside of MD Anderson, I was like, I really want to work there. I need to work there. And I was even considering taking really almost any type of position just to get in. And once I got the job, it felt like I'm coming home in a sense. Because, I mean, I know it goes on here, and MD Anderson was a person, but, I mean, MD Anderson saved my life. And not that I felt obligated, but I felt that, I've been a patient, I've been volunteering for years, and, this is comfortable to me. This is what I want to be a part of, so.
So what do you do here at MD Anderson?
Currently, and actually since I've started 11 years ago, I oversee the daily activity with the endowment compliance program. Obviously, we have a number of donors and just philanthropists and et cetera that give gifts to us in the forms of endowments. And I look at more of a compliance role where I monitor all the endowments, making sure the funds that are being used by the faculty and throughout the institution are being used appropriately, making sure it's being used the way the donor wanted it to. Obviously, many donors have had family or friends pass from cancer, and in their honor have created an endowment in their name. So, and actually, there are even a couple patients over the years that I knew who had passed, through volunteering and had gotten to know their families, and their families then created an endowment. So, it gave me even more sense of a security of, I'm going to take care of this person's money and making sure it's being spent the right way. But again, there are a number of compliance risks that we look at, and that's basically what I've been doing. So.
Okay. I know that you volunteer at Camp Star Trails, and you have, another camp for. I'm not sure if it's for Tourette's, but it's also for other children. Why don't you tell me about that?
Sure. Actually, the first camp I did for special needs or disorder disease was Camp Star Trails. I believe it was in 1998, and that's a 1-week camp. And that was just a heaven on earth when I went there the first year, and it still is whenever I go, but it was so different than every single thing I've done in life, including volunteering here with patients, which are adult patients. And I've pretty much gone back every year, at least for a couple of days or for a week. After a couple of years going to Camp Star Trails, I was thinking, hey, I need to create a camp for children with Tourette syndrome, which is what I suffer from as well. My Tourette's and my cancer are two different things. They're not related. But the camp we started is a weekend camp, and it's once a year, and that's existed for 11 years. We just had our 11th camp, had 117 kids, and then there's one other camp I do. It's another cancer camp that's a weekend camp that I do annually.
Tell me a little bit about your Tourette syndrome. I don't really know much about Tourette's.
Okay, well, Tourette syndrome, and I'm glad you asked that, because it is a disorder that is frequently either misdiagnosed or misunderstood, and mostly because of the media it's portrayed as, the involuntary swearing and things like that, where that's actually a very small percentage of the people that have coprolalia. But it's a neurological disorder. It's genetic. There's no cure. I take medicine like a lot of people do, but another thing that a lot of people don't understand, for those that have Tourette, most of us have another condition, whether it's obsessive compulsive disorder, attention deficit disorder, or ADD. So there's some other things that are actually even more difficult sometimes to deal with than the actual physical tics, whether it's a verbal tic or a motor tic.
And why? What sort of what pushed you to sort of make and contributing to kids this way and creating these places for them to connect and about their whatever condition that they might have?
I think the reason that I enjoyed the camps and started the camp is, these children are at a young age. They range from 5 to 19, and it's such a developmental stage where, what they receive from society and the outside is they perceive as real. That's the way it is, when in fact it's not, meaning, how children are with each other. They make fun of each other, they chastise each other, things like that. And we want to create a place where they feel safe. Everyone there is there for the purpose of Tourette syndrome in this case. Other kids have Tourette, and we provide at this camp activities that most of them probably haven't done in their life. Horseback riding, a challenge ropes course, canoeing, and things like that. So it's a real confidence builder where, outside that one weekend for most of the year in school, again, they're mocked, they're looked at, they're made fun of, and our purpose, again, is primarily to create an environment where they can come and build that confidence and even network. When I was first diagnosed, I had never seen anyone else with Tourette syndrome. And when I did, it was overwhelming, and I was 21. So that's our purpose, is to help them develop the skills to, socially and to function, as a, quote, normal person, have a normal life.
Moving on to a sort of different subject, I know that you're an athlete. You're a cyclist and a triathlete. Why don't you tell me about that?
Well, I'm an amateur. I'm not an athlete, but actually, 2.5 years ago, that was my 20th cancer. Kind of bad. I need to slow down. 2.5 years ago was my 20th anniversary of being cancer-free. So instead of having a big celebration or a party, a band, and all that, I was thinking, what can I do that's kind of unique or special? And I came across the internet. I'm not sure what I was looking at, but it was a triathlon. It was a little sprint triathlon in New Braunfels, and I was like, I'll sign up for that. And I did it. It was, it took me an hour and a half, but at the time it was like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. And it was a real accomplishment. I feel, at least me personally, the older you get, you don't have a lot of accomplishments where you're just like, wow, I did that kind of thing, like you do when a kid. And that's, again, back to the camp. That's, again, why we provide a setting like that, so kids can realize that, hey, I can do this. I can do, difficult or challenging things. And that's, again, is another purpose of the camp and creating that setting for them to experience that. But I think a lot of people that try triathlon for different reasons, they get hooked. And I've been participating in that since, and have increased my distance and done more races, and have kind of turned it into more causes related to that. For example, I started a foundation called Try for Tourette, where I will be going to triathlon races, but prior to the race, I'll be raising funds for the camp to both expand it to maybe a week-long camp, and also to bring more campers. But through networking, through friends, through the general public, raise funds with the triathlon, for example, an Ironman as the kind of the highlight of what I'm doing and why I'm trying to raise money. Not why, but this kind of the focus of please support me in my quest to do this, to raise funds for the camp. Also, though, that I think just as important is we have this camp and we provide this setting. But doing these Ironman events and things is actually a way I can come back to camp and say, hey, look, I have Tourette just like you. I have the same symptoms. I have the same annoyances every day. Whether I'm on my bike, whether I'm running, my tics are there. They're bothering me, but I overcame during this event. And, My ticks were there the whole time. They bothered me. Other people were looking. But, by golly, I finished the race. I finished what I started. And, again, not only is raising money for the camp, I want to, and other people to, kind of, losing my thought. You can just pick up wherever I left off. Okay. I'm not used to that concept. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that concept where you can cut this and cut that and merge it together. I'll relax him. This is a conversation. You should have said it at the beginning. But no, my goal for doing the Ironman event is to be able to go back to camp and tell them that, hey, I did this. Y'all can do this too. Whether it's a race or whether it's something in school or whether it's a hobby, whatever it is that give it a try. If you don't make it, you'll learn why you didn't. You'll do better the next time. But the point is that you tried and that that you have the confidence to try it and do it. And for me, they're not even races. The triathlons, I'm 44, so if I was 28, I might have a different perspective. But my goal is simply to finish.
Switching to a different topic, let's talk about it's something I missed a question here, but you tell me you have cancer and you work at the hospital. Mm-hmm. Do you have and you volunteered here too? Does having cancer give you a different perspective while working here? Does it feel different?
Well, I can't say how it feels for other people that have had cancer or don't have cancer. All I can say is, I've had cancer, so I understand, even though it's been 20 plus years, what people are going through. Just not just the cancer field, but all medicine has changed drastically since 1990. But I do. I wish when I first started here that I had a job maybe more in the hospital where I could come out of my office and visit with patients and kind of have a good mix. But even though I'm away from the hospital itself where the patients are being treated and seen, I still feel the sense of what's going on. So yeah, again, like I talked about as far as being kind of a guardian of the funds, the endowment funds, I'm here for a purpose that's personal to me. And I'm not saying that people that haven't had cancer that work here don't have the same feeling of belonging. I'm just saying for me, having had cancer, it's much more of a personal attachment. I feel like my blood's in the walls, kind of.
You had mentioned to me that.
Can I also say one thing about that?
Oh yeah, sure.
And also, just like at camp, whether it's at the Tourette camp or a cancer camp, when I say to one of the kids, hey, I have Tourette syndrome too, or I've had cancer, whether you're a child or you're an adult, when someone that's going through or either has gone through what you've been through, it's relaxing to them. It makes them feel, okay, hey, this person went through it, and they're going to help me, and they understand what I'm going through. I think it doesn't make it easier for them, but it helps them understand that there's hope, whether it's for me just personally or just that people obviously survive cancer, but I can just feel the sense of their vibe when I explain to either a camper, a child, or an adult, how they kind of relax and are comfortable talking about what they're going through, whether it's feeling bad or asking questions. How did you deal with this? And that's really my overall purpose of everything is helping people the best I can, based on what I've been through. I honestly feel, and I don't want to get too personal here, but I honestly feel that I was allowed to survive cancer and to live productively with Tourette for that purpose of hopefully supporting and helping others. Whether that's true or not, really, I don't think it doesn't matter. But I believe that, and that's really all that counts in my daily living as far as continuing to do what I do. So long as I feel that is kind of my purpose, and I'm going to keep doing it. So.
Good job.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
That was great.
Oh, was that it?
That was it.
Man, yeah, it was even 30 minutes. That's cool, man. Go get some lunch. Don't want to take this with me.
Yeah. Let me grab that for you. Thank you, sir. All right.
Is that clear enough?
You were good.